Everybody, welcome to the Psychic News Report. I have a special treat for you. Really good friends of mine, Sandy and Jonathan Burkard. They are paranormal investigators. They are not spooky. They're great friends of ours. They're super fun couple. Guys, thanks so much for coming on and doing this. So you both are... Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to talk over you. Welcome.
No. We're just saying hello and welcome.
So you guys are both part of the New Jersey Paranormal Investigations. They have a Facebook group, which is super cool. They show out all the events that you guys do. You also have a website. It's spelled out, New Jersey Paranormal Investigations.com.
That is correct.
How did you guys get into this? I mean, just full disclosure, Jonathan and I went to high school together and reconnected, as full-blown adults. And I found out he was into spooky stuff like me. How did you guys get into this?
It was actually probably me. I was looking for something to do. I think it was like around the time of my birthday. And I was looking at stuff and it popped up that they were having an event and we weren't with the team at the time. And I saw it and I said, this looks fun. Why don't we go try this? And I said, let's go ghost hunting. So
and we watched all the TV shows and stuff like that, but we've been into this, like the weird stuff,
a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like we were going out for 6 months and our first vacation together was to Salem, Massachusetts. So We've always been into, the weird and the spooky and so it was a natural progression.
So you went to the event and then you just connected with the other folks. Who are the other folks that are part of NJ Paranormal Investigations?
It's Barry and Michelle. He's the founder of the group, and Michelle is also one of the lead investigators. So it's just the four of us. But we went to several events, and after going for a while, they got to know us, and I don't know why, but a lot of weird stuff happens around me. And
she's Ghostbait.
Yeah, that's my nickname, Ghostbait. So they had 2 members leaving at the time, and they were trying to figure out who to ask to join the team. And Michelle said, what about Sandy and JT? And why don't we ask them? So that's how we came about joining the team. They asked us, and I was like delighted. I was excited because I'm like, this is fantastic. I've always wanted to do something like this. So of course, we said yes.
and the funny thing is that they sent us a message through Facebook, and Sandy didn't see the message for like 2 or 3 weeks. So they're like, I guess they're not interested in joining our group and whatever. And then Sandy, the one day, she goes through her messages and she goes, oh my God, they want us to join the group. And I'm like, why? Like, why do they want us in the group? But it's because that we were like real. Like it's, we're like everything is not paranormal. Like we actually we're more realistic in what we do in our approach to ghost hunting, and they appreciated that. They're like, we don't just go to a place and everything is haunted, everything's a demon, everything is something. I'm a bit of a like a skeptic believer, so for me I have to have evidence, and I debunk a lot of stuff that people show us.
Well, one of the things, and we're going to come back to it, Sandy, because Greg and I went to the Strauss mansion in Atlantic Highlands with you guys, and we got to witness you being ghost bait. So
that's true.
In Mr. Strauss's private abode, it was pretty cool. But, speaking from like a scientific and having evidence-based, I hesitate to use the word proof, but evidence-based evidence. What do you guys typically do in an investigation, just for people that have never been a part of one?
I mean, our team is like, when we do hold events, they're free roaming. So we don't make people go off to a certain area for a certain amount of time. We let them go. Like they're welcome to join us, or if somebody has never investigated before, they want to come with us to just get an idea of what goes on, they're welcome to, or we just let people go wherever they feel drawn to in that location. We do loan out equipment. A lot of people that come to the events have investigated before, but we just tell everybody, just go wherever you're drawn to.
I mean, but for you're saying for like evidence and how we do this. We have certain devices, and they're based off of like electric. I can't even speak. Electric magnetic fields, and so that is, in a theory of, a ghost is made of energy. Energy is, neither created nor destroyed. So it'll measure the energy that's in the room. And, we've used that to use as trigger objects and stuff for them to come in it. They'll go off. And then we'll ask them, hey, could you set that off again and try to get intelligent responses to what we have set up. And then, we have all sorts of different devices. They trigger in different ways and stuff. Some of them are also motion. But, that's everything's based in theory because there's no actual factual stuff with ghost hunting. It's all subjective, really. But
Absolutely. Now, I totally understand the electrical component because it's something that psychics and mediums talk about, is that when we're looking to communicate with the other side, electricity is an easy way for spirits to communicate with us. The whole thing with like going to a seance and saying flicker the lights, that's a real thing. We can't ask spirits to do that, being psychics and mediums. What's some of the equipment? I know the cat balls were one that I was really surprised to see.
We have the cat balls. It's literally a cat ball.
Yeah.
That's a good. It's like a $2 device, and it's literally just you put it down on the ground, and you try not to tap it or anything like that, and you ask the spirits, and some people go, oh, could you play with the cat ball? You got to remember, some of these spirits are from the 1700s, 1600s, 1800s. They don't know what a cat ball is. So you have to say, could you play with the crystal ball?
Yeah.
And, it'll be laying on carpet in the other room. And you say, hey, if someone's in the other room, could you touch that? And also it starts going off. And it's really neat. And honestly, it's the best device for the money, because it's just, we've had it at a cemetery on a tombstone, and we weren't getting anything, and then all of a sudden it just starts going off, and it's going off for a good somewhere like 15 minutes straight.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, there was no malfunction. Like, we eventually picked it up, turned it off to put it back on again, and then it was off for a second, and then we were like, could you set that off again? And started going back off again. So
wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was
wild.
neat. And then we put it on some other stones, and it didn't go off at all.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
very wild.
The string of lights that you guys use, tell me a little bit about the string of lights, because that was a really cool thing. Just for our viewers, when we were at the Strauss house, Mr. Strauss had a favorite book, and we strung the lights over the bookshelf and said, light up where your favorite opera book is.
Yeah, it was the Victrola Book of Opera.
Yep.
And that one light lit up, or it was like the two lights next to it. It was wild. It was really remarkable. So there they are. That's the string of lights. Now, is there anything special about this string of lights? Do you have to get it at spookyequipment.com, or is it?
Yeah, you're not buying that like really on like Amazon or something like that, or Walmart. Like,
right.
You have to get it at like ghost hunting equipment stores. So there's the Ghost Hunter store, and there's another place called Ghost Stop. We buy a lot of stuff from the Ghost Hunter store. The guy's name is Dave, and he's a New Jersey-based investigator, and really, really knows his stuff. And he's good people. So we try to support him by going to the Ghost Hunter store. But he has a lot of the equipment that most of the people use and you see on TV.
Right. Like, so the string, this is the regular ambient color. It's like a pink purple, and they're all individual EMF sensors. So, I mean, if we touch it, you can see it doesn't change color. It has to be an energy field that comes around it. And when the energy field gets close to it, it'll change depending on the strength of how close it is to it. So you have blue, orange, yellow, red being the strongest. If something is literally standing on top of it, it'll go red. And
Wow.
that means it's right there. So But
I didn't know there was a spectrum for those. I was just,
yeah.
I was so excited they were lighting up. I was like, "Ooh, look at that!"
Yeah, so
It goes color.
yeah, as it goes from one color to another, that is the intensity of what's there. So, and a lot of the devices are like that, like a K2 meter, same thing. So it goes from green all the way up to red. Let's go green to red. There we go. Everything's backwards now. So if it's red, it's right there. It's very intense. It's on top of it. It's that's gonna be your strongest field. And
Very
this
cool.
is something an electrician uses. This is not like special ghost hunting equipment. This is literally like electricians use this to go and check for electrical fields and stuff like that. And the one thing too, like we always tell everybody, is make sure your phone's on airplane mode, because it will trigger devices.
Yeah, is your phone triggering it right now? Is that?
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. And I'll be sure to drop your buddy's link in the description. So if anybody wants to get any of that equipment, we're going to support your friend here. And we'll put his link right in the description for everybody. So
Oh, great. Thank you.
if they want to get their own crazy equipment, they can go right over there and get it. Now, the one that I really thought was cool, and it was pretty much because it said my name, was the one that we were in the basement. And it was, I always say it wrong, the obelisk.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that one, because that was, again, it said my name. So it was a little weird.
That's Sandy's favorite piece of equipment. And unfortunately, we don't have it here right now. It's
that's okay.
Yeah, but we try to put a bunch of other stuff on the table because we figured you'd be asking about it.
Yeah, I use that all the time because I get great results with it. It has 2 sensors in it. Same thing. It goes by temperature. It goes by EMF. Like there's a whole bunch of different settings and features in there. But it's supposed to take the energy field around it. And the whole idea is that a spirit can use that energy field to manipulate it to form words. And a lot of times, like when we go to a location, the words that come out will be like to that location. So it'll give specific words and then it starts repeating them over and over. So it's almost like it's trying to tell a story about something that has to do with that location. For me, at least, it works fantastic. And I know, they say, of course, nothing can be proven, but we've had a lot of interesting results with that equipment.
Well, the experience that Greg and I had at the Strauss house, we were up in the attic in the tower, you guys call it, right? The
tower. Yep.
The outlook. And we were using my pendulum, and the pendulum kind of stopped working. We were like, "Do you want us to go someplace else?" And we said, "Yeah." It said yes. And we said, "Do you want us to go down to the living room?" And didn't answer. And we said, "Do you want us to go to the kitchen?" And it said yes. So we went down to the kitchen, and then somebody came out of the basement and said, "Your name's Anna, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "The obelisk just said your name downstairs." So I stuck my the pendulum in my front pocket, and we went downstairs, and it said Anna again. And Greg and I were like, and then it said Elizabeth, which is my middle name.
Oh,
and then it
wow.
said,
I didn't know that. I know the Anna, but I don't remember the Elizabeth.
Yeah, it said Elizabeth too. And then it said front pocket. And it was in my front pocket. And I was like, oh. So I didn't want to interrupt the investigation, but when it was all over and everybody was like, yeah, that didn't make sense. And I was like, I'm Anna Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And I had my pendulum that I was using upstairs in my front pocket. And they were like, no way. So it was pretty cool. Now, there was another thing that was going on in the basement. And I still don't think I quite understand. It was the field of pinpoint lights.
Yeah,
So
laser grid.
What is it?
It's a laser grid.
The laser grid. Now, what is that? Do you set up a camera to go with the laser grid and see if anything moves past it? How does that work?
Well, most of the time we'll, just observe with our own eyes. A lot of times when we're doing like a private investigation, where it's just us as a team, or maybe a team and a couple like people that we invite out, I'll bring a camera, and that's exactly what we'll do. We'll set that up and we'll shine it toward the laser grid to see if there's any movement within the lights. And we've actually seen, Sandy's actually seen stuff move within the laser grid.
Oh yeah. There was, I guess, about 6 of us that saw it. We were at one of the locations that we go to a lot, Bolton Mansion. We were in the basement. We had the laser grid set up across the basement wall, and it came out from the one side of the basement, went past me, and then down the other wall and through the wall and disappeared. But of course, JT was looking down at equipment or whatever.
Yeah, I had equipment. I'm just looking down. I'm kind of doing this, and everybody's like, "Did you see that? I saw that. You saw that too." And I'm going, "I'm here, and I didn't see this. I missed everything because I took my eyes off the wall for a minute."
Yeah, you gotta keep those eyes open.
Yeah.
It was a clear shadow. I mean, like 6 of us saw it, and it just went across the wall and down the other wall and gone. And
That
it's crazy because at first you think my eyes are playing tricks on me until somebody else can confirm what you're thinking, and then at that point you're all like, "Oh my God, we actually really did see this." So it's nice when you have someone else to confirm what you saw.
Super cool. Now, one of the things that I'm real curious about, because you guys do the public investigations, the participant investigations.
Yes.
You go to some of the same locations time and time again. Do you use that data and kind of chart the activity at the houses? And if so, do you see like waning or waxing activity at different times or over a period of time? Like, how does that work? Like, do you see changes in the haunting experience at the homes?
Well, we actually don't chart anything. Like, that's actually a good idea to do, because when like people contact us and say, "Hey, we have this weird activity at our house," first thing we tell them is start charting everything. Write down the day it happens, the time, what's the weather like, because it could be storming, and you can have stuff happening during a storm versus a calm day. And then on we've been there where it's been very active. We've been there when it's not very active, and we never really charted it before. But I mean, we have seen really active places, not very active, and so.
Yeah, we all say they're on vacation that night, or they somewhere to go.
They're just shy, right?
Yeah.
Now, Sandy, why do we think you're ghost bait?
I don't know. I mean, my mother claims it's the red hair. My mom says it's the red hair. Redheads.
I think it's the red hair. You have fabulous hair. I'm attracted to your hair.
Thank you.
So I'm curious if there's like a little bit of a mediumship around you. Just as a psychic and a medium, I think it's interesting. I just found out that I met a medium a few months back, and he kind of left the room really quickly. And he's not a professional medium. And he said that he told our friends that I came in with an entourage. And I said, well, that's kind of my business, but I not much that I could do about it. But I've always had some sensitivity to experiences. My first experience was with my grandfather. He showed up after he passed away. But I'm always curious around people that have ghosts that are attracted to them. And usually I think it's because there's a little bit of a communication thinning there. They can get through that membrane a little bit easier. So
yeah.
I think it's a great gift, but
I do too. I mean, I think it's funny because between the two of us, usually we'll go, do an investigation, and weird stuff always happens around me for whatever reason. JT will go and sit there for hours and nothing will happen.
She's ghost bait, I'm ghost dud.
Yeah.
Well, some of my students, they get worried that they're going to attract crazy activity like that. And I tell them, listen, if things start moving around your house, if you start have lights flashing, all that, call one of the big networks, tell them you've got an active house. I go, you're going to get $1 million. They're going to bring cameras into your house and they're going to
call us. I'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the best thing that could ever happen.
Yeah.
I'll bring the equipment.
Yeah. Whatever you do, just grab a camera and start filming it yourself. Because when we go on stuff, we say, listen, nothing's in these homes or demonic. Nothing's evil. There's no like bad presence. We've been there so many times. But we always say, should someone get, raised to the ceiling and starts floating, grab a camera immediately and start videoing it, because we're going to need that for evidence.
Sure. And probably as soon as you grab the camera, it stops. So
of course.
Indeed.
So what are some of the most notable locations that you've investigated? I know there's one that everybody knows, and You know which one I'm talking about. It's when
She's
everybody's
like,
scared
come
of.
on, Sandy.
Well, I mean, there's several for me, but oh
Conjuring
yeah, I
House.
know the Conjuring House.
Conjuring houses, everybody's afraid of that. Everyone's like, "Ee."
Yep.
And
So
And when we first went, we were like, "This is freaky. This is like I don't get bothered by places, and I was nervous coming there."
oh yeah, and
So
I'm dying to go back there just because of what we've experienced. So
tell me a little bit about the investigations there. Like what kind of stuff did you see when you were there?
the crazy thing is, the first time we went, it was like we were creeped out. All of us there were creeped
Very
out.
creeped out.
Nobody could go into like a room and sit by themselves, like, which normally you could put me anywhere, I'm fine. I couldn't. I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't. We were upstairs. The two girls that were with me up there were going down. They're like, do you want to stay? I thought about it for a second. I said, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I went back downstairs, but nothing had happened the whole night. And we're thinking like, okay, is this house just overhyped? Like, what is it?
We even got pizza at like 11 o'clock at night because like that's how like nothing was going on.
Yeah.
But I know what you're going to allude up to. But when we first got there, so we went up the day before because it's in Rhode Island. So we figure we'll drive up the day before. We'll spend time up in there, Rhode Island. We'll go maybe see some of the mansions and stuff like that, and then later in the night we'll go and do the investigation. So I wound up charging all of my equipment. Everything was charged. I just wanted to make sure everything was topped off. We go there within 20 minutes. Everything was dead, except for one camera. I'm like, I don't even understand. Like this right here, it's a power block. This thing's supposed to charge like 8 like cell phones, 2 computers. Like it holds a lot of energy. That thing was dead. It was not charging anything, and I just finished charging it right before we left.
Wow, that's wild.
But then nothing happened the rest of the night, and we're like, what's going on?
Yeah, we went to, it was like 3:30 in the morning. We're tired, and we weren't sleeping there, so we were going to leave, go back to the hotel. Literally everybody was out the door. I'm the last one going out the door, and I hear 2 footsteps clearly above me. I'm like, oh shoot. So I grabbed Michelle, who's on our team, and I told her, I said, there's footsteps. And she goes, oh shoot. She goes, all right, we'll give it another 15 minutes. So we all went back in. Nothing again, like completely nothing. And then same thing, as we were getting ready to leave, I was standing like leaning. Now there's reported to be a black shadow figure that moves in this area. So I was standing in the foyer where the stairs go up to the 2nd floor, and there was a computer blinking, and I was just kind of just standing there, just looking up the stairs at it. And I saw a shadow figure literally lean over and do this and then go back, and like looking at me like, you're still here, like that type of thing.
Like, did you leave yet?
Yeah, like
Hello?
looking like, oh, are they gone yet? That type. And I'm like, oh my God. And that made the whole trip. I'm like, I don't care that I saw nothing else. To experience that was crazy.
None of us had anything. She got to get the bonus of that. But like I even knocked on, so the guy Corey who owned it, he has since sold the Conjuring House and now someone else has it. But he was there's like a little studio apartment kind of thing attached, and so he would stay in there overnight. I knocked on the door and I said, hey, listen, nothing's going on, we're leaving, just want to let you know that if you get up in the middle of the night and no one's here, like we didn't fall into like a portal, we just went back to the hotel. And he's like, really? We're like, yeah, like nothing's going on. He goes, wow. Like he was surprised because it's the Conjuring House, there's like always stuff happening. No. And then like right after that he went back into his like apartment thing there. And then that's when we cleaned up and everything. And then Sandy finds that. And then we're like, but nothing else is going on. And we still went back to the hotel. It was like, it was very weird. But it was enough for us to go back, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't spend the night there. I think that's kind of crazy, but
we did the following year.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yes. And Sandy and I stayed in the same room where we saw the shadow.
And I had seen the shadow the second time when we went back the second time.
You did?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
We all had just sat down in the library to start a session, and nobody was moving. Everybody had sat down, and sure, it's like 6 foot tall, and I saw it just go across the wall in the living room and disappear where the foyer is, same area. So I was like, and I literally stopped. I was just like, oh my God, there it is again. But I mean, we're setting up. I didn't have equipment out or anything that I could have like caught it on video real fast but I'm like dying to go back there for the third time now to see if I can get 3 for 3, because I'm like, I have to see this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it went toward the staircase that she saw the last
the first time. Yeah.
But and the other thing too was like all the equipment was going off. We actually went live on our NJPI page for like what 2.5 hours.
I think so. Yeah.
I think we started at like 10 o'clock at night and went to like 12:30, almost 1 o'clock, because so much stuff was happening. And then people like, go in the basement, go in the basement. So we went down into the basement and we were filming down there, and it was nonstop.
The second
Crazy.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah. We have this one device. I don't have it out on our table, but we have this one device that it like, so like if a shadow goes over it, it'll like kind of point in the direction where it goes. And then we had it on the floor in the library by the doorway, and all of a sudden like we're hearing noises, and then all of a sudden it lights up as if something went into the room. And then we're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then more things were going off in the room. And then, I don't know, a couple minutes later, it lit up as it was going outside of the room.
Wow.
And then things started to get a little quiet again in the library.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It was like, and for me, like, I need to explain stuff. Like, why did this happen? Why is this happening? I want to rule out as much as I can, because that's like my brain says I need to figure out scientifically why this is doing it. There's no like, I can't figure out why that was happening. No one else is moving in the room. Like no one was near it. It was crazy, and it's just stuff like that makes you want to continue to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, was that like the most notable experience? I don't want to say the scariest experience you've ever had, but was that like the most notable experience you've ever had at a location?
Nope.
Nope.
For me, I think my most notable was we were in Gettysburg. And
it's always Gettysburg.
It's always Gettysburg has a reputation for a reason. So first time we go out to Gettysburg was for the Gettysburg Bash. It was a couple of years ago. And Michelle from a group was out there too. She used to go every year, and then we're like, oh, we should go out. We go out. So now it's dusk. We're out in the battlefield. We're up on Culp's Hill, and we're just kind of doing like a little mini investigation up there by ourselves, like the three of us. And Sandy has his boot stomp next to her very loudly. I was maybe 20 feet away from you. Michelle was maybe 5 feet, 8 feet away from her, but like she felt it, and she's standing on like a boulder that's in the ground. Like it's just, you just see the top of the the granite or whatever it is. And she felt it in the ground. Michelle heard it, I heard it, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Then shortly after that, there's a park ranger coming in saying, it's dusk, you can't be here, it's dark, like you're supposed to be out of here. And so we're like, oh, okay. So then we start asking the park ranger, hey, have you ever seen anything weird or whatever like that? And he was relatively new, so he hasn't, but he's just telling us about like some of the other rangers. And as he's talking, I'm next to the pickup. Michelle's by the window of the truck. Sandy's maybe a couple feet away from that. And I'm like by the hood facing toward the back of the truck into like a valley area. And I see like this like whoop, go by really quick. It was like 6 foot tall, whitish gray. It was almost like something ran, but it was like that, like just very, very quick. First, my mind says, oh, maybe it's a bird. I'm like, well, a bird's not going to be like 6 foot tall. Like it's not a pterodactyl here. So, and then I'm like, it's probably just because the way the light's coming down, maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me or whatever. As we're pulling out, we're talking about the boot stomp and whatever like that. And then I said, yeah, I kind of saw something, but I think it was a figment of my imagination. Sandy goes, was it like 6 foot tall? Yeah. Did it move from the right to the left? Yeah. Was it this? Was it that? I said, she saw everything I did. I'm like, how could she see something that was my figment of my imagination? And I'm like, crap, that might have been something. That's the moment where I just kind of like my brain stopped working, because I'm like, I can't explain what this is. The next day, I went to a lot of people at the bash who are, seasoned investigators. Some of these people were on TV shows and stuff like that. No one's really an expert, but I would say seasoned. And I start telling them what I saw. They're like, "Yeah, that's an apparition." I'm like, "It's not an apparition. It's got to be something else." And I went 4 or 5 people, and that's exactly what they said. It's an apparition. This is what people see out there all the time. I said, "It's not an apparition. It has to be something else." It took months before I can actually like tell the story and go, it might be an apparition.
And there's no way he would know that because I described exactly what he saw because I saw it too. So I'm like,
I didn't say anything. I just
he
saw
didn't
it,
tell me.
and just in my mind, I'm going, "What is that?" It's nothing.
Because he goes, I might have seen something, and that's when I said, "Oh, was it this?" Because I had seen it, and he goes, "You're kidding me." I'm like, "No, I saw it too."
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, she broke my brain that day.
Our good friend Shelly had her shoes untied in Gettysburg.
Oh,
And
no.
apparently
Oh, that's
there's
cool.
one location, there's a little boy and he unties her shoes, and he untied one, she tied that, he untied it again, she tied it back up, double knotted it, so he untied the other one. So
That's really cool.
That's really
I
neat.
know a lot of people have had a lot of experiences. I have not gone to Gettysburg because I don't know what's going to happen when I go there.
Oh, you
So
have to.
yeah, well, we got enough stuff that goes on in our house, so
All right,
really,
we'll go
really.
together. Pick a day. We'll all go together.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. So, is there anything that you guys have ever seen that was so scary that you wouldn't go back?
Well, yes, but not seen.
But and not that we would never go back. It's quite the opposite.
Right.
We want to go back.
Right.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
2 locations that really, the only 2 that really ever freaked me out. Normally I can sit anywhere. You could put me any place, basement, attic, you name it. I'm fine. These 2, I couldn't. One was Crescent Sanatorium in Altoona, PA, or Crescent, PA, but it's out by Altoona. And we were in there, building F. I'll never forget it. It was 3 of us. Everybody was in there together. The whole group said, "You know what, we're going to peel off and kind of go." We decided to stay in there for a little bit.
Nothing was going on for the rest of us, so we're like, "Yeah, let's move to another building."
Yeah.
And then the 3 women are like, "Yeah,
We'll hang
gonna
out,
stay here for a little bit."
So it was me, this girl Jen, who comes to a lot of our events and is a good friend now, and Kristen. And so we were all up there. We were kind of doing a little session, asking questions. And I was in the hallway, just kind of leaning against the wall, looking at the end of the hallway where the exit sign is. It's pitch black. The building has paint, pieces chipping off everywhere on the walls. And we were asking questions. And then I saw something at the end of the hallway, but I said, "Oh, okay, whatever." And then you just get this feeling of like something threatening. I can't even describe it, but next thing I know, I'm, standing there and I hear like shuffling, and I hear the footsteps coming, picking up speed towards me. And I hear the paint on the walls also. The 2 girls in the room heard it and they didn't know what it was. I literally dove from the hallway into the room and took the one girl down that was standing there, which I apologized. But yeah, it's crazy because they heard it and I heard it, but couldn't see anything coming at me, but you feel it coming. So
she also screamed on top of her lungs.
That's a first for me.
We were several buildings away and we hear this ear-piercing scream. And Barry goes, "I think that's your wife." I'm like, "We should probably go find out what's going on."
But you heard the paint? Was the paint flaking off?
Yep.
That's wild.
It was like as it was coming towards me, you could hear it on the wall coming towards me besides the floor. So it was crazy.
Like, how like paint chips are like curling and they stick out from the walls of like abandoned houses? She actually heard them like flickering as it was coming up the hallway.
Holy smoke. That's wild. And you guys are going to go back?
I would love to go back.
Well,
they're not open right now.
Right now so. the whole place is closed down. It's a whole, there were people renting it. Now they're not renting it. There's a new owner or the owner. The whole big story with it. But anyway, they're not renting it out anymore for ghost investigations. It's kind of like in limbo.
If
So
they do, I'm like, I am so there because I want to see if I can experience it again. But you know, we
That's-
always say we never felt anything negative. That was the only one time besides the other time that I really felt anything like threatening, where you'd say like it's threatening. The other one was Penhurst in Pennsylvania. And we were in the Mayflower building in the basement. It was the end of the night. Everybody was already out. We were leaving. And I decided to go down the basement for the last, minute to see if
it's
anything.
like 3:30 in the morning.
Before we left, I said, I'm just going to go down there and see if, anything's going on. It's reported to be someone down there, a male that doesn't like women. So I said, I'll go down there for a minute, try to do a quick recording or something. Now, mind you, it's pitch black. I get down to the bottom in the basement. You have a hallway to the left, hallway to the right. So I'm just kind of standing there and I hear movement to my left. So I just kind of looked. I said, hello? Nothing. So I waited a second. I hear more movement. I said, someone down there? Now, meanwhile, JT was upstairs and he goes, everybody's out of the building. It's just the two of us. He goes, you're the last one to go.
Yeah, the stairway is like right by the entrance. So like I'm on top of the stairway because she went down. Everybody else came up, and then she went down. And I'm like, listen, we're about to pack up to leave. And Sandy's never one for actually leaving, so she'll stay until the very last minute. But she's down there by herself. I'm about to go down just because I've been down there before. I've been down there by myself. Not a big deal, but again, it's the guy's name is King, who he doesn't like the women. I believe they said he was the janitor or something, and he used to lurk in the basement anyway. But so she's down there, and then all of a sudden, it's like she's freaked out.
Oh yeah, because I was standing there quietly, and I hear it sounds like someone walking around. So I said, anybody down there? And you don't hear anything. Nobody's responding. But then same thing as in like Crescent, where all of a sudden you hear the footsteps sound like they're running. And as it's picking up speed towards me, I can't see anything because it's pitch black, but I can feel it coming. And I just shot up the stairs. I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
I've never seen her like freak out like that. Like I wasn't in that building F in Crescent, so I didn't see her then, but I saw her now.
Yeah, and I was like, it just felt like if I stood there any longer, something was just going to like attack me or, I don't know what, but I was like, I'm out. I said, I was done.
And then the other weird thing is now that we're out of the building, we got with everybody else. Then there's a knocking on the window from like the basement
where
outside. And everybody's like, we're getting the heck out of here. Like, this is really like
creepy.
It's taunting us now.
Right.
Wow.
And me and one other girl and her husband walked over there to go see, like, what is that? As we walked over there, the knocking stopped. As we started to walk back away again, the knocking started on the windows again. And we're like, I said, oh man, you got to be kidding.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah.
And a lot of times too, when you go out to a place, you may only have that one thing that really like, happens. I was like, wow, like, a lot of the devices that we have, it's, they trigger and stuff like that. That's kind of neat. And sometimes they'll do it on command. Hey, you could just set the, but it, experiences like that, that's when it's real.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no device, there's nothing. It's just you in the elements and whatever's there. And that's when it just, becomes really like intense. And that's why we do that. Like, the best evidence or the best things that we've experienced, it's not on film, it's not on a recorder, it's just, our experiences. And I don't post stuff up on, Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Like, hey, look what we found. And here's an EVP that we may have caught. And it's just like, sounds like crunching, whatever like that. And I don't do that because I don't care what other people's opinion is of what I've seen. So, and, it's just, but those experiences is
why we do it.
Yeah.
It's like you said, would you not go back? But actually it makes me want to go back even more because I want to see if it would happen again. Like, was this a one-time freak thing or would this actually happen again if I went down there myself, so, and it's, I want to find out, but I don't, but it's like kind of that curiosity of, all right, if I go down, I'm staying right by the steps so I can run back up again. But,
and the most important thing you need to know too, though, is like when we go out to an event, we're guaranteed to see at least one ghost.
There he is. And I have to admit, that was actually the interview I was looking for. I was looking for G.Host. G.Host, I'm glad you showed up. Thank you very much. G.Host has his own Instagram. It's G.Host. Is there
underscore
G underscore
G.Host underscore official.
Official.
Yep.
Yes.
And then the same on Facebook as well.
Same on Facebook. I'll put him in the description of the video as well, because I know he has a pretty tremendous fan base already.
Absolutely. It's a phone ghost that like over 1,000 people are following me now. It's fantastic. And like we go to events, like the last weekend we were at Whitehall Mansion, and the lady goes, "Oh, do you not do the ghost anymore?" I'm like, "Oh, why? Hello, it is I, G.Host."
Serious.
So yes.
So speaking of White Hill, you guys are going back to White Hill on the 18th of May, correct?
Yep. And actually this weekend on the 11th, they're having a Paracon. So we have a table there that we're going to be at representing the team. And so we'll be there. Actually, Dave Giuliano, the one from the Ghost Hunter store, he's going to be there with his stuff as well. And you also have the both Marks from Weird, New Jersey are going to be there, and Katrina and
Heather Taddy.
Katrina was on Paranormal Lockdown and Paranormal State, and what was the show with?
Heather?
No. The Katrina, the one with Jack Osborne.
Portals
to Hell.
Yes.
And then Heather Taddy was in Alien Nation, and anyway, there's some people from like TV and everything going to be there, and we met them last year. Super nice people. And there's going to be
where's the Paracon? Is it in New Jersey?
Yes, it's actually at the Whitehall Mansion in Fieldsboro, New Jersey.
Oh, that's very cool. So that's this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, or
just Saturday.
Just Saturday.
Yep.
All right.
It's from 10 to 5.
I'll make sure that we put links to all this stuff. Now, the event that you have on the 18th, is that sold out yet?
No.
I think we have 2 tickets left.
Yeah, I believe there's a couple tickets left for that.
2 or 3 tickets left.
So for the viewers, if you're in any of the local areas to any of New Jersey Paranormal Investigations event, they sell out very quickly. Well worth it. You get to meet cool people like Jonathan and Sandy.
You get to hang out with us.
Get to hang out with G.Host. You get a picture, selfie with G.Host. Tell me a little bit about what's going to go on at White Hill this weekend.
This weekend is the Paracon. They're doing.
I'm sorry. The
18th.
We'll be doing another public event, and usually it runs from 7 to 1 in the morning. We keep the numbers like of people that can come low. We usually limit it to either 12 or 14 people, only because a lot of the places that we go to are small or smaller. So we want people to have like their own real investigation. We don't want people talking and, laughing or yelling. We want them to be able to try to really capture some evidence if they can. And
the place is from the 1700s. It doesn't have, great, noise carries.
Yeah.
So if you have a bunch of people on multiple floors, it's going to, interfere with other people's investigating, on one floor to another. So we try to limit it down to 14 so everybody has a good experience and
can really investigate.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I can say again from personal experience, when we went to the Strauss Mansion, you guys were accessible. It was easy to grab one of you and ask questions, ask how to use the equipment. There's plenty of equipment to go around. It really was a great time. So you've got the Paracon this weekend at Whitehall Mansion. You've got an investigation on May 18th at Whitehall again. Then you have the Shipman Mansion on June 1st and the Strauss Mansion on June 8th. And I'm going to try and get a couple of my people together for the Strauss one. I hope there's plenty of spots for us still.
And that's Sandy's birthday too. So
what's that?
June 8th is Sandy's birthday too. So
is it?
Yes.
So we better get super activity on that day.
Yeah, Mr. Strauss is going to be like buying you flowers and going bananas.
I'll make sure I have to tell him he has to talk to me that day.
Absolutely. But this is great. I really appreciate you guys coming out and talking about what you do. Like I said, Greg and I are huge fans. We have a lot of activity that goes on in our house. So one of these days we're gonna have to get some light up cat balls and see if we can make some things happen.
We'll
But
just come over with a bag.
I was gonna say we have equipment.
yeah, and I'll feed you. I'll give you some food. So
That's a fair exchange. I like food.
well, listen, stick around after the outro. We'll talk a little bit more. I'll make sure I'll get all the links for all your people. We want to your friends are my friends. I want to make sure we promote them and give them a little bit of exposure on our new channel. But I really appreciate you guys coming out and having a chat and helping us out over here at the Psychic News Report.
Of course.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you asking us to come out.
All right, stick around, guys. We will talk to Jonathan and Sandy again in the future, hopefully. If we do any of the events at the Strauss Mansion, I'll see if I can do like a quick little visual for you guys. We can talk about it. But I love paranormal investigators. Jonathan and Sandy, great people. So I will see you in the future. Thanks for watching.